Peter Ogden was a brigade commander in the Hudson Bay Company, a trading company that worked both across the United States, North America, spent a lot of time in Canada, and in other parts of the world. And when he traveled, he was exposed to different kinds of foods, different flavors, different textures, and he brought all those with him, trying to merge them together, kind of the original creator of fusion cuisine. So Ogden comes to Las Vegas, which of course wasn't Las Vegas at the time, it wasn't even the state of Nevada, and he meets a man named Archibald Stewart. Now Archibald takes him into his home. There weren't any bars, of course, around that time, so they sit around the table and they start having this conversation, because Archibald and his lovely wife Helen were, of course, hospitable people, and they served Ogden just a traditional meal, the meal that they would enjoy every day. And Ogden seemed bored, he seemed agitated, so they started having this dialogue about foods and flavors, and they started having this kind of discussion about what was more important, the traditional and consistency, or something more avant-garde, pushing your limits and trying new things. And this conversation so enraged them and so enraptured them, right? Because they were both smart and interesting people, and smart and interesting people like having discussions like this, that after they left, Archibald took this journal and he wrote it and he said, "This is the perfect menu for a restaurant. This is the perfect menu. This is all any man should ever eat." He sends it to Ogden. And Ogden looks at it and, of course, does not agree. And he writes in his comments, he writes in his menu ideas, his recipe ideas, his ingredient ideas, and he sends it back. And this journal goes back and forth, kind of this Pony Express piece of business. And eventually, Archibald Stewart, unfortunately, was killed by the same individuals whom he had taken over the ranch from. They shot him, they rustled his land, effectively, and the journal was lost. And Helen Stewart keeps it. She keeps it in her homestead, and then we come to find this journal later on as we were developing the downtown Grand, actually buried in the superstructure under where the Lady Luck used to be. We find this hope chest with, amongst other things, the journal. So before turning it over to the appropriate authorities, we take this journal. See, it was found right around here, right where 3rd Street is between Stewart and Ogden. Of course, the streets weren't called that at the time. They were called Gatz and I believe Wilson. But these two streets, in the center of them, we find this journal. We're going to use this journal as the basis for Stewart and Ogden. We're going to use this journal to define and kind of control the menu in the field. Okay?